So what's your take?
Parking in cities should never, ever, ever be free.
Parking should never be free. 100% disagree. It's already expensive enough to live in a city. Why should I pay for parking on top of everything else?
Okay, hear me out. Yes, parking is another cost, but who's actually paying for parking right now, especially when it's free? It's not actually free. You have to pay for things like pavement, you have to pay for enforcement, you have to pay for paint, and all of these costs are coming out of taxpayer-funded dollars. So if people like you and me who ride transit, we're already paying our fare to be on the train or the bus, and we're also paying so that someone can park their private vehicle in a public space, which is a crazy waste of money.
And it's like a bad use of space to put a parking lot where you could have housing or something.
Right,
for example.
exactly. It only takes a few parking spaces worth to build an apartment. And if we were able to build more apartment buildings, we'd be able to get rents down. So actually building having less parking or charging for parking can actually make it a lot cheaper to live here just by lowering your rents.
Okay, let's say that's true, but what about people that can't take transit or like have accessibility issues and need to use a car? Why would we make it harder for them to get around by charging them parking?
Right, and that's like the most important part.
Yeah.
What are the two things that drivers hate more than anything? It's traffic.
Traffic, for
and
sure.
Parking.
Yeah, parking.
The people who don't need to drive will be incentivized if they have to pay for parking to take public transit, to walk, to bike, to do like anything else but drive. So if they're not driving, we've got less people on the roads, we've got less people looking for parking spots. So the people that do need to drive, the people who are disabled and rely on a car or need to go somewhere that isn't transit accessible, they'll have not only more parking spots available to them, but less cars on the road. It'll be a significantly better deal for everyone.
Okay, so this would be only like for urban areas, right? Not for like the countryside or a suburb where there isn't any other option. You're saying in a city, it should be paid.
In a city, which is like, there are so many places in San Francisco, like in downtown San Francisco, when we throw big events, what do? We make parking free. We're taking all of these massive empty private vehicles and we're just dumping them in the middle of our city during busy events, and it makes no sense. We're just causing unnecessary traffic. Yeah,
I can see that. Like, it would make that experience so much better, like not having to find parking or traffic. So yeah, I'm not sure what the government would do with the parking money if they use it well, but I can see where you're going with this. I'm open with it.
We would absolutely be able to, we can just use that money to pay for parking rather than everyone else having to pay for it.
Yeah.
If you want to park, you're paying to maintain that road under you. I think that's the fairest way.
Yeah. Okay, so what about if we fix the parking congestion issue? How do we make transportation better? So if you're not going to let me drive, how do I get around? Like, transit isn't great, Right.
Well, that's the most important part. So if we're going to be able to make this work, we need to make sure that people have other options, that if you don't want to drive, you have something else you can do. And that's why it's really important that we fund public transit. Here in the Bay Area, public transit isn't very well funded, and has a lot to do with the way that our state has failed to fund public transit, and just the way that, riders have returned to public transit after COVID.
Yeah.
So what we're doing right now, we're actually running a ballot measure in 5 counties, in San Mateo, Santa Clara, Alameda, Contra Costa, and San Francisco. We're gathering signatures to put a half-cent sales tax on the ballot. And this sales tax will help to fund public transit services. But if we can't collect enough signatures, if we can't pass it in November, we're going to see things like stations closing on BART, potentially the entire BART system shutting down. We're going to see bus lines cut. We're going to see longer hour-long waits, multiple hour-long waits for Caltrain. It's going to be a complete disaster.
Yeah. So it's really important we get this on the ballot by signing it, and then by voting for it when it comes out in June, or is it November?
November. So if you go to connectbayarea.com, there will be a ton of events. Head to the link in the bio, because there will be a ton of events so that you can sign this petition. If we get enough signatures, it's about 200,000, we'll be able to get on the ballot in November, and then we'll vote on it then. So it's kind of a 2-step process.
Yeah.
We really need everyone to sign this petition. Otherwise, we're just going to be looking at more traffic, more, shortages of parking, potentially still having a charge for parking regardless, but without other solutions.
Totally. All right, you heard it here. Let's fix parking. Let's fix traffic by passing this ballot measure.
Pay for parking, charge for parking, fund transit.
Great.